Well, right now we have 2,442 copies of Titanic on VHS. Oh my goodness! And we upload every day. We try to make content all the time. So I try to stay relevant on all the social medias and upload every day to each platform because I have fans on different platforms. They don't all stay on one platform. So they like when I put it on Twitter or they put it on Instagram. So there's different audiences. I'm not much of a numbers guy besides collecting Titanic on VHS. That's the numbers I care about. We do this for fun, so it's not about the followers or the attraction. I'm just glad that it happened, but it was never about rising to the top. It's just about having fun and making content and making people laugh.
Titanic Talk with Nelson Aspin and Alexandra Boyd. Here we feature stories from the independent documentary Ship of Dreams Titanic Movie Diaries and everything else to do with the iconic ship. From James Cameron's epic groundbreaking movie to the history and legacy of Titanic herself. Actors, historians, authors, descendants and fans come here to talk about Titanic. This is your first class ticket to everything aboard the Ship of Dreams.
I think Miss T's the bread and butter to this channel, so I would like her to stay.
Thank you.
But
I agree.
sometimes you need a little eye candy, even if you can't see the eyes. In
You're right,
5,
Ted.
4, 3, 2. I'm Nelson Aspin, and welcome to another episode of Titanic Talk, which is spawned, if you will, from the documentary Ship of Dreams Titanic Movie Diaries made by my friend Alexandra Boyd, who is also my co-host. Today, we're not only celebrating things about the 1997 film Titanic, all things Titanic related, but very specifically a niche for Titanic fans, and it is the fandom, the Titaniacs, that really propel this podcast. You are in for a treat. Alexandra and I had the pleasure of meeting today's guests in person at the world premiere of her documentary that was in Los Angeles earlier in 2023. Alexandra, please do the introductions.
Well, I think anybody who's a regular listener to our podcast already knows this person because he has risen in the ranks of Titaniacs as the person who presently and probably for all time will own more VHS copies of Titanic than anybody else on the planet. We know him as Titanic Fan 97, but also by his regular name we are revealing, which is JD, and his lovely cohort, who will reveal themselves a little later in the pod. Welcome, JD and Miss T, to Titanic Talk.
Oh yeah, Titanic, baby!
Yeah, JD, we know of your obsession with VHS copies of Titanic, which we're going to explore. But as we just introduced you as JD, is that for Jack Dawson, who you seem to idolize and have extensions of yourself, so to speak, or are those really your initials?
I was lucky enough to be born with the real initials JD, just like my man Jack Dawson.
And was that part of the initial? Because I mean, that's always what we have to start out with asking our guests: is what was the nucleus of your attraction to Titanic, and in your case, Jack Dawson, and the VHS collection.
Well, have you ever seen Titanic? Of course you've seen Titanic. It's the greatest movie of all time.
We've seen it a few times now, yes.
Oh yeah, well when it first came out in the theaters, I saw it as a child, 6 years old, and I could not believe my eyes. I mean, that's a pretty big movie to see at 6. And of course, Jack Dawson on the big screen taking those boots off, my man, the king of the world. I was just so fascinated, and I have still kept on that tradition of loving Titanic.
Who took you to the film? Who got the 6-year-old you there?
Oh, both my parents.
So they were okay, like because some people there's a debate that rages on about at what age should you see Titanic? Did they cover your eyes for the love scenes, or were they just kind of like free spirited, let them see everything?
No, my mom for sure covered my eyes, which I'm glad because I'm all about Jack Dawson anyway. So it worked out anyway.
I wonder if Jack Dawson would have been happier had he never met Rose. I mean, what are your thoughts? What is it about the character of Jack, or is it Leo? I mean, let's delve a little deeper into your attraction to the character.
Well, he just needs some air in his lungs and a few blank sheets of paper, and that boy's ready to go. I mean, just the other night he was sleeping under the bridge, and now he's on the the podcast with you fine folks. He just, I don't know, he's just an underdog, and I love the story of Jack Dawson. I mean, he made it on the ship of dreams. You can't just make it on the ship of dreams, but he did. Oh yeah, he did.
It's inspirational how he makes every day count.
Oh, Miss T's talks. Well,
Oh.
this now I need to
She
know
couldn't hold back.
She had to weigh in.
Am I
even though,
supposed to chime in yet? I'm sorry.
no, you are absolutely welcome to chime in anytime. And we're keeping your identity safe because of professional reasons. We don't want to give away your true identity, just as Rose went by Rose Dawson at the end to keep her identity a secret. What attracted you to JD, Miss T?
Oh, look! I mean, just look how attractive he is.
Yeah, but was it a Titanic connection? Was it Titanic related?
What?
Was it a Titanic related attraction initially? Did Titanic bring you
No.
together?
Well, everybody loves Titanic, so we did have that in common. But we were together before this became what it is now, obviously. But we've been together 11 years, so it's been a long time.
Yeah.
I believe, Miss T, you are, I'm guessing you're the camera person following Titanic Fan 97 around the country to all of the thrift stores looking for just one more copy, double copy of Titanic on VHS. And sometimes you draw a blank, which is, I think it's because you must have scooped them all up already.
We definitely have scooped a lot of them up. And yeah, I'm the camera person behind it a lot. JD does videography in his normal, regular life before this. So he does a lot of it, but whatever he can't do, I do it. Or I'm behind Jack Dawson, waving his arms, giving him a little.
Jack Dawson really gets around. I mean, we've seen him for those of you that the few of you that may not have seen the work of these guys. I mean, you've got Facebook, you've got TikTok, you've got Instagram. I mean, you've got all the various platforms, and you travel around. But just on Instagram, you've got over 16,000 followers currently. Keeping tabs on give us some of the statistics, because obviously we're recording this today, and people will not be listening to this podcast today, but as of this date, at the end of 2023, what are some of your statistics in followers and, more importantly, in numbers of VHS tapes?
Well, right now we have 2,442 copies of Titanic on VHS. Oh my goodness! And we upload every day. We try to make content all the time. So I try to stay relevant on all the social medias and upload every day to each platform, because I have fans on different platforms. They don't all stay on one platform. So they like when I put it on Twitter or they put it on Instagram. So there's different audiences. I'm not much of a numbers guy besides collecting Titanic on VHS. That's the numbers I care about. We do this for fun. So it's not about the followers or the attraction. I'm just glad that it happened. But it was never about, rising to the top. It's just about having fun and making content and making people laugh.
Yeah, I also see that when people donate their VHS to you, that they'll sometimes slip in something else Titanic related, like, you look, I don't really know what to do with this, you can have it too. So what other sorts, I see you've got a lobby stand there, for want of a better expression, probably from an original cinema lobby in 1997. What other kind of cool things have arrived in the mail to you along with a VHS?
We get Titanic board games, we get puzzles, models, we get little Jack Dawsons, like little crochet Jack Dawsons. Yeah, we get pictures of me, like people draw me, and it's pretty wild. Yeah, here's one right here. This is Jack Crochetson.
Oh, look at that crochet. Oh, look, that is so, oh, look at that.
See, if you're not tuning into this on YouTube, you're missing the crochet.
Oh my gosh, look, it's so cute. Well, that's a little creepy. No, wait, that one's a little creepy. I take that back.
Alexandra and I got to meet you at the Valley Film Festival, which premiered Ship of Dreams Titanic Movie Diaries. We did the Q&A afterwards and brought you up to the front of the theater to include you in the Q&A, which was a real treat for us. But tell us about some of the other live events you've attended since this journey began.
We go to conventions all the time. Of course, we go to thrift stores. We go to fairs. Pretty much any event in our area that seems really cool, we'll go out there. And we try to promote the business as well, like when we make the videos. It might not be very obvious, but we're out there, we're filming, and we're trying to get more people to, see the stuff because people watch the videos. So, if you have like a new store or you're really cool, like a comic book shop, I'll go out there and make a video. We make a lot of connections and we know a lot of businesses now because of this.
We went to Titanic Con, which was really fun in Las Vegas.
Yeah, Titanic
Yes,
Con.
I'm very sorry I wasn't able to join you, and it's because of the actors' strike, which is still,
Right.
as we're recording, ongoing. That's one of my disappointments of the year, is not to be able to meet more people like you, because it's always such a joy. It's really nice.
Well, we know that there will be more Titanic events to come when the strike eventually settles. Do you have specific plans for the next anniversary?
Of Titanic. I mean, hopefully I have 1 million copies by then so I can remake my own Titanic out of Titanic on VHS. Also, I want to remake the movie called Jack-tanic where every character is Jack Dawson. So maybe I can do that by then.
I'm sure the Writers Guild is up in arms right now because they're going, oh, it will be AI. You're going to need AI to make an all Jack Dawson movie. Any interactions with Leonardo DiCaprio yet? Is that something you're striving for?
I have not reached out and he has not reached out either, but if it happens, it happens. Right now, we're not really going that angle. We're just collecting Titanic on VHS.
He has a strange, not aversion, but a non-presence with Titanic. He didn't go to the Oscars. He's not done any interviews. I can't imagine that he's embarrassed about that film, but I think he feels like that's something that was 25 years ago, and he's looking ahead. He's not looking back, which is, it must be sad for the true fans. Sorry, Miss T?
So Titanic is forever.
That's right. And you would have a hard time looking at Leonardo DiCaprio today and saying, oh, that's Jack Dawson. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't have expected Jack Dawson to grow up looking like what Leonardo DiCaprio looks like right now. Not that either one of, that's not a criticism. It's just an observation. When's the last time you guys I mean, obviously you keep some of them in the shrink wrap to preserve them in mint condition, but do you ever check them? Do you watch them and play them?
Oh yeah, we do Titanic Tuesday where we go live every Tuesday to celebrate Titanic on VHS, and we always play the movie. And we watch cassette number 1, my favorite cassette, because all the best scenes happen in cassette number 1. And we watch a lot of cassette number 1, let's just say.
That could be very controversial, that what you've just said. I'm sure a lot of people have mixed opinions about that. Ali, I would have said part 2 because of the sinking. Alexander, What do you think?
Oh no, I get very excited once the iceberg hits, or everything else is set up, and then the dun 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 dun. The sort of like the music starts to go. Okay, game on. Or not game on, but sync on. and now you're watching everybody in sort of real time trying to save their own lives. That's interesting. So you love all the getting on the ship and the elegance of the first class dining room compared to the third class dance party and all of that setup. That's fascinating.
Yeah, Jack Dawson has the best scenes. He plays poker. He's the king of the world. He dances. He takes his boots off. I mean, it has all the best Jack Dawson moments in cassette number 1.
Right. Okay. I'm going to have to rethink that next time I rewatch it.
Well, I like him when he's shiny as a new penny, but that's just me. That's the way I go. Now, your I don't want to say mannequin, your replica, your Jack Dawson that you take around with you. Is he nearby? Can we see him? And you have him dressed as he is dressed in tape 1.
Here's my man right here.
There he is. Look at that. And I see you've progressed to a James Cameron. Is that James Cameron in a button-down shirt and a banana head behind you? That's hilarious.
That is James Cameron with a banana on his head. That silly goose. Of course I had to have James Cameron. He made the greatest movie of all time.
What would you say to Mr. Cameron if he reached out to you? What would you want to talk? What would you most want to talk to him about?
I would say, Mr. Cameron, thank you. Thank you for Titanic on VHS, my favorite movie. The premise.
Well, I'm sure he would be mesmerized by this entire thing. Why the VHS? Like, was it because that was the first format that you were able to take home? I'm just curious as to, we're all collectors of something. Whether, I mean, we are. Everybody collects something. I'm more interested in the psychology of why the VHS. Do you have an objective opinion about that?
Well, yeah, Titanic on VHS is the most iconic VHS in my lifetime. Everyone had this movie on
Yeah.
VHS, like anyone, parents, grandparents, me as a child. I mean, everyone had Titanic on VHS cassette number one and cassette number two. And I've always had it in the back of my mind. I mean, we were so excited when it came out on VHS, September 1st, 1998. Take the voyage home. That's what they were saying. And that's what we were playing in our VCRs. Um, in every thrift store that we go to, we see Titanic on VHS. I mean, you can't escape the movie. You can't escape the gloriness of the VHS.
One of us I can't say, somebody who really likes numbers, Pablo, said, like so many numbers that go with this movie, it was the largest selling VHS release in the world. And I mean, they're not producing any more VHS. When you look at these VHS that come through the mail, are they worn out? Are they they've been watched so many? Because you could wear out a VHS. Are some of them just, or even split, like the spool is just coming out with the tape inside, and you're just like, oh, another one bites the dust.
Yeah, it ranges. We get broken tape sometimes, we get moldy tape sometimes, and we get sealed copies. We actually have 157 sealed copies of Titanic on VHS. So they come in all shapes and sizes, all forms, all types of, different smells and textures. But we love every single copy because it's Titanic on VHS.
Is there a trick to storing them, or do you categorize them by condition, or like we see something behind you? Do you keep any in a temperature controlled environment?
Well, they're all in alphabetical order. They're all T for Titanic. I do store them all in this room though. They pretty much insulate the room. They're from the ceiling to the floor. It's Titanic galore. We do keep the sealed separately. You can't see the sealeds right now, but I have a whole shelf full of sealeds. I have a whole collection of the special editions somewhere. So yeah, I put all the golds on top because they shine up like a new penny in this room. So all the gold editions, that's widescreen.
But you're going to outgrow that room pretty soon. You're not going to get a million VHS in that room, are you? Have you got plans, or do you need another spare bedroom?
I would like to get a warehouse or a museum type of attraction at some point so people can see the Titanic collection. A lot of people are interested in coming in the room, but it's my house, so I'm a little weary about that. But one day I would like to have a walkthrough attraction for this collection.
We have gone to the second room yet, so we do have one other room, but most of the VHS are in this room.
It's going to happen. And when Alexandra and I have talked about taking Titanic Talk on the road so that we can invite some of our Titaniac family members like yourselves to come with us. And whether it's we have someone that makes replicas of the costumes or miniatures or collects actual props, so that we can always have an exhibition of part of our Titanic Talk family, and that we should absolutely include you with some of your VHS displays. You've kind of created, you said this is your own home in these troubling times. It's nice to know you have a bunker. If you ever needed a bunker, you have a Titanic VHS bunker
protected
room.
by VHS. Yes, they'll take the impact.
Are you satisfied with the ending of Titanic as it pertains to your man, Jack Dawson? There seems to be the never-ending controversy of whether or not he could have gotten onto the panel with Rose. What are your thoughts? I don't know when the last time you watched tape 2 was, but as you recall, he didn't get on the panel.
My man Jack Dawson was taking a power nap at the end of the movie. A lot of people are confused. They're saying like, "Oh, he didn't make it," but he was taking a water nap because he did make it to America.
He's right here.
He's obviously right here. What are you talking about, buddy?
The sequel awaits. We had a controversy on one of the podcasts, Alexander. Maybe you can. I don't remember who we were talking to, but about whether or not his eyes were closed when he
Oh, it
when he
was
went
Linda
under.
Kearns. It was Linda Kearns talking about her dead eye contact lenses.
Oh, right.
The
And he was
optician who
supposed to wear
provide,
them.
yes, she said they had been sort of ring fenced for Leo, and then we were like, but were his eyes even open? And I think it would have been very weird if he had sunk to the bottom of the ocean with sort of ghostly eyes, and so
He
he
was
did
trying to get away from that mean lady, so I think it all worked out.
that mean lady.
Now, I've asked this to you before off the podcast about the VHS of Hanging with Leo, which was a 30-minute fan-made video in which I was a presenter, and that was the late night. That was like '99, I think it was. I don't think you can get that on VHS anymore. Maybe somewhere you can on eBay, but you can watch it on YouTube. And
Have you seen
have
it,
you seen
JD?
that?
I have it on VHS.
You actually have the VHS. All right,
Someone sent that in.
that's fantastic. It's one of
You should
the
you should
people
sign
tried
it,
to shame
Nelson.
me about
Mail
that.
it to mail it to Nelson, and he'll sign it and send it back. You should do that because that's super fun.
Yeah. I mean, that's so funny that VHS took on a life of its own when there's some, I guess it's a website called Everything is Terrible. And it just showcases really bad, cheesy stuff from other eras. And that ended up on Everything is Terrible. And people started emailing me about how terrible I was for being a part of that.
He was so
wasn't a
young,
mockumentary.
Nelson.
Yeah, I
He
was
was
young.
so
And it was Leo mania. I mean, because
yes.
Leo was himself a boy at the time, and it was all about what a dreamboat he was at the time.
Oh yeah.
Jack Dawson is a dreamboat.
He is. Well, I mean, what you must see Jack Dawson qualities in JD, Miss T.
Well,
Obviously, you're with him.
Yes, I do. Super
What
dreamy.
what Jack qualities does he have?
He's very unique. He's an artist and he's fun. He lives every day, not caring what other people think, but making himself, happy and enjoying life. But I do want to go back to Hanging with Leo, the VHS
Yeah.
tape, because JD was going to go on a podcast and talk about that movie, right? Soon? Is that happening?
Soon, yeah.
Well, I'm happy to chime in if they want. Would love to do it. We're all family here. And Janet Charlton was the other presenter. And Janet Charlton was a big gossip maven back in the time. She was the head gossip reporter for Star magazine, which was the contender against National Enquirer. And as I recall, she's the other person in that. And the producers of Hard Copy, which is a show you may not remember, it may have been before your time, but it was one of the first tabloid shows. The producers of Hard Copy were the ones that came to me about that because they were putting it together, and it sold very well. I mean, it was a top-selling video at the time because of Leo's popularity. Which is
Have you ever
very
thought about making a sequel to Hanging with Leo?
You know what? If you want to produce it, I would gladly resurrect that role. But
You'll have to chase him around
your...
Hollywood with a microphone and see, Leo, what do you think about Titanic? And he'll be, he'll just be racing into his limousine with all his security people.
I have Jack Dawson at home, so I got it covered.
Yeah.
Although I have to say, one thing that's different between you and Jack Dawson is you don't have a mean lady. I think Miss T would let you on the panel if you needed to be rescued. Am I right?
Yes,
absolutely.
You take your chances together. Where can people send you? I'm sure there's people listening going, I've got a double VHS somewhere in my storage or in my garage. Is there you may not want to do you have a PO box or something like that we can share with people on the notes so that you can get another influx of VHS?
Oh yes, we got a PO box, all right. And we get hundreds and hundreds of packages. It's like actually, it's a little, I had no idea this was going to happen. We one time went to the PO box and it was like hundreds of Titanic on VHS copies, and it keeps coming. It doesn't stop, and I'm very grateful.
I bet you're the bane of your post office. Like, here he comes. Oh God, please! Have you got a radio flyer truck? Because you're going to need something to get these to the car.
Yes. So yeah, we do have a PO box, and it's in the description of all of our social medias, so it's easy to find. And please send us if you have it. Thank you.
Get ready for another influx.
It makes people so happy to see your content. I have to say, you have and I mean this as a compliment, but it is a childlike wonderment and sense of fun and play that is infectious, and you cannot help but smile when we see your stuff. So I urge anyone that hasn't checked out Titanic Fan 97's joyful content to absolutely look at it. And it says a lot about your personality. What else do you do? How do you express your fun when it isn't Jack Dawson and VHS time? Because I know like you travel and do these things. So what other things bring you joy?
Hanging out with my dogs, with Miss T, playing some video games, eating food. you know, I do edit other videos and I make music sometimes. So pretty much anything in the entertainment world, I'm there. And we watch a lot of movies too that's not Titanic, but Titanic is the main squeeze, the main cheese, if you will. Yeah, I love
But you
Titanic.
must be, if as a fan of Leonardo DiCaprio, you must. I mean, I think he's the most extraordinary actor now. I didn't get any of that vibe when I saw him or worked with him on Titanic because he was a young kid and he was kind of messing around. Kate Winslet was very serious. Notes on in the borders of her script and everything, and he was just, he didn't always know his lines and he was just goofing off. They were chalk and cheese to watch. But now, when you look at films like The Revenant, and he has a specific scene in Django Unchained, which is outstanding in that film. Like his ability, I never saw this actor that he has grown into 25 years ago. That's what strikes me, is that he really is one of the most talented actors, movie star actors that we have at the moment. Are there other films of his that you could pinpoint? Like for me, I think The Revenant is a masterpiece. Are there any other films of his that stand out to you?
He made other films. No, I think the reason why you didn't see Leo that way is because he
He
was
died.
chained
How
down to
could
that
he?
main lady. And once he escaped, he was able to really freely express himself. But I really do like The Departed. I think that's a great movie.
I see, and I disagree with Alexandra about Early Promise, because I remember What's Eating Gilbert Grape and thinking how amazing he was as a boy.
He
I mean, he
was. I
wasn't even a
agree.
young man;
Yes.
he was a boy. That was something else. But all right, so what's next? What do you have some trips planned, or do you have a daily? Do you sit over coffee in the morning and say, "All right, Miss T, today we're taking Jack Dawson out to the mall or Wendy's
We
or
got kicked out of our local mall. Fun fact.
Yeah, we are actually banned from the mall because they didn't like us bringing Jack Dawson in.
Shame
thought it
on
I think you
them.
have a lawsuit. I'm going to hook you up with Gloria Allred. I think you've got a lawsuit there.
um, but no, we actually do that sometimes, and we have a meet and greet coming up, and that comes back to the PO box. We actually have a local spot in town. We live in Largo, Florida, and there's a local spot called Retro Rat where people can drop off VHS tapes, if they don't want to pay shipping. And we're doing a meet and greet there on December 2nd.
Fantastic. Are you gonna have the brim of your hat down for that as well?
No, I'll be out in the open. I know I'll probably get exposed one day, but I'm holding it off as long as I can. There's been some close calls, and I'm out there a couple times, but for the most part,
Well, you're the woman behind Jack Dawson, you see. Behind every successful man, there has to be a woman, whether she shows her face or not. So you can't go anywhere, recognizable or not.
Guys, the ultimate trip for your Jack Dawson, where must he go? What's on his wish list? And maybe some people can I don't want to suggest you do an OnlyFans page, but maybe a GoFundMe page, somewhere where people could help you realize your dreams.
I think the ultimate goal right now is to go to Belfast, to Titanic Land, and really show Jack Dawson what it's all about,
We might
Somewhere
see you
there's a
there.
little Irish pub right there by the shipyard, by the Harlan and Wolff shipyard. There's got to be a little pub where he can go and play some poker.
And win those tickets to the Ship of Dreams. Woo-wee!
Fantastic.
Before we sign off, guys, give us your best, just your best pitch about sending you the VHS and your love for all things Jack Dawson.
If you want to see Titanic rebuilt out of Titanic on VHS, I urge you to send in Titanic on VHS because we're trying to get to 1 million copies. We have 2,442 copies right now. So close to that million, baby. I can almost taste it. But yes, we are just trying to build the ultimate world's largest collection of Titanic on VHS, and any help is appreciated.
Nobody appreciates
Fantastic.
Titanic on VHS more than this guy. And we think all the time about the stories behind all the used copies we have, and we appreciate the collective efforts that have made this all come together. And it's going to grow hopefully to 1 million, and we'll make that thing. So
Not
send
doubt
them
my
on.
mind you will end up with 1 million or more, and
Yeah.
then you'll have to go to 2 million.
And Miss T is absolutely right. Each single VHS represents a gift, a purchase that someone made out of their fandom for the film. So that's a beautiful note to end on. You have over 2,000 and going for 1 million personal connections to the film and what it means to everybody. So that's beautiful, and it's deep, and it's funny, but it's also very sweet. And so thank you guys.
Just
Thank
like
you so
Titanic, the
much.
movie itself, it's got all the aspects. It's a serious movie, but it's also funny, and that's our collection. We have all these people send them in, and we think about those stories. But you asked earlier about why VHS. It kind of stamps that time in history. It's like listening to an old rock song on a record. There's just something about that VHS. So we're building this ode to to that.
Yes,
Beautifully
I
said.
agree.
Hey, vinyl made a comeback. Why not VHS?
Exactly. And that sort of analog view of something, for me, something when it's super, oh, it's 4K, it's super HD, when you can see, every hair and every follicle of everybody's everything, it kind of loses some of that romance. Or I'm talking as a filmmaker now, that, watching something that looks more cinematic is what I think you're sort of leading to. And I want to sort of say again about the fans, that's why I put the fans in my documentary, because you can't separate the two. This film is what it is because people like yourselves and the other, tens of thousands or millions of people all around the world who had that same experience when they were 6 years old or however old they were when they first saw the film, still carry a place in their heart for this story. And here we are all talking about it. So it's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Oh yeah.
See what I did there?
Thanks, guys. We
Thank
love
you
you.
so much.
We're really honored to know you.
Thank
Hey,
you.
thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Bye.
If you've enjoyed this podcast, please leave a review. And if you'd like to hear more podcasts like this, hit the subscribe button. For information on where you can see Ship of Dreams, Titanic Movie Diaries, go to shipofdreamsfilm.com. Titanic Talk is a production of Ship of Dreams Film Limited. To celebrate Season 2 of Titanic Talk, we've launched a line of Titanic Talk merch. A cap, a mug, a tote, a t-shirt or a hoodie. You'll be sure to find a unique gift for the Titaniac in your life. Look for the link in the notes and on Instagram, or go to bit.ly/Titanic Talk Shop. And Nelson has a new book out. Dancing Between the Raindrops is a steamy page-turner full of all the tales Nelson can still remember from New York City in the 1980s. It's a coming-of-age story about friends in the era of big hair, padded shoulders, and punk rock. Dancing Between the Raindrops is available on Amazon, or ask for it at your local bookstore.